The morning began like any other, with the city glowing under a warm sunrise and hundreds of employees rushing into the towering headquarters of one of the country's fastest-growing companies. No one noticed the exhausted father quietly walking through the front entrance with an old backpack over one shoulder and a neatly packed lunch in his hand. His name was Ethan Brooks, and every single day he carried far more than a backpack. He carried the responsibility of raising his 8-year-old daughter alone after losing his wife years earlier. He had never asked for sympathy, only the chance to work honestly. But before the sun would set, one cruel decision over just $9 would destroy his job, expose a shocking truth, and change the lives of everyone involved forever. Before the story continues, if you believe kindness deserves a second chance, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Lifeline Tales. Your support helps us bring more emotional and inspiring stories every day. Ethan had spent 3 years working as a maintenance supervisor inside the company's headquarters. He was respected by the cleaning staff, security guards, and junior employees because he never treated anyone as less important. Every morning he arrived before dawn, inspected the building, fixed broken equipment, and made sure every floor looked perfect before executives arrived. His paycheck was modest, but it kept food on the table and paid for his daughter Ava's school supplies. Every dollar mattered. Every hour mattered. Every promise he made to his daughter mattered even more. That particular morning had already been difficult. Ava had accidentally left her lunchbox at home, forcing Ethan to stop at a small cafe before work. After paying for her meal, he realized he was exactly $9 short of the parking fee. Embarrassed, he borrowed $9 from a vending machine cash fund with every intention of replacing it during lunch after withdrawing money from the bank. He even left a handwritten note explaining what had happened. To Ethan, honesty was more important than pride. Unfortunately, someone else discovered the note first. The company's recently promoted operations director, Vanessa Hale, had built her reputation on strict rules and zero tolerance. She believed fear created discipline and often made examples out of employees in front of others. When she found the missing $9, she ignored Ethan's explanation and immediately accused him of theft. Without listening to a single word, she ordered security to escort him to the lobby while dozens of co-workers watched in complete silence. Humiliation burned deeper than anger. Ethan tried to explain that the money would be returned before lunch, but Vanessa refused to hear him. She announced that anyone willing to steal $9 could never be trusted with company property again. His employee badge was deactivated before he even reached the front doors. In less than 5 minutes, a hardworking father's career had disappeared. Ethan walked outside carrying only his backpack and the family photograph he had kept in his locker. Sitting on a nearby bench, he wondered how he would explain everything to Ava. Rent was due in a week. School fees were approaching. He had always promised her that no matter how difficult life became, they would face every challenge together. For the first time in years, he wasn't sure how to keep that promise. Inside the building, most employees quietly returned to work, but many couldn't forget what they had witnessed. Several staff members knew Ethan's character and believed something was terribly wrong. One elderly janitor even whispered that kindness had been punished while arrogance had been rewarded. What Vanessa didn't realize was that the company founder, billionaire entrepreneur Julian Mercer, had unexpectedly arrived at headquarters that very morning without notifying anyone. Known for secretly visiting his businesses to observe company culture, Julian believed numbers measured profit, but people measured success. Instead of entering through the executive entrance, he quietly walked through the employee lobby and happened to witness the final moments of Ethan being escorted outside. Rather than intervening immediately, Julian asked for security footage and employee reports before making any decisions. Within an hour, he had watched every camera angle. He saw Ethan placing the handwritten note beside the cash drawer. He saw him carefully recording the amount. He also watched Vanessa refuse to read the note before accusing him publicly. Julian wasn't angry because $9 had gone missing. He was angry because integrity had been ignored. At the same time, an important meeting was taking place upstairs. Vanessa was preparing to finalize a $9 million facilities management contract that she had spent months negotiating with one of the company's largest partners. Executives filled the conference room expecting another successful business announcement. Instead, the doors opened quietly. Julian Mercer entered the room carrying a small envelope. The room instantly fell silent. Without raising his voice, Julian placed Ethan's handwritten note on the conference table beside $9 in cash. He calmly explained exactly what had happened that morning, showing security footage and written evidence proving Ethan had never intended to steal anything. He then asked a simple question that no one could answer. If honesty deserves punishment, what kind of company are we becoming? No one spoke. Julian looked directly at Vanessa and explained that leadership without compassion eventually destroys trust. He reminded everyone that rules exist to protect people, not to humiliate them. Publicly shaming an innocent employee over $9 had damaged the company's values far more than the missing money ever could. Then came the moment no one expected. Julian announced that the $9 million contract Vanessa had been leading would be cancelled immediately and reassigned to another executive team. He also informed the board that her employment was being terminated for abusing authority, failing to investigate the facts, and violating the company's leadership standards. The conference room remained frozen in complete silence. Outside, Ethan had already begun walking toward the bus station, unaware that his entire life was about to change again. A company vehicle soon pulled beside him. Confused, Ethan assumed someone had forgotten paperwork that needed to be signed. Instead, he was respectfully invited back to headquarters. He entered the building expecting another interrogation. Instead, every employee stood quietly as Julian Mercer personally walked toward him. The billionaire shook Ethan's hand and apologized, not as a businessman protecting a company, but as a human being acknowledging another person's pain. He admitted the company had failed him and promised that no hard-working employee should ever experience such humiliation again. Julian offered Ethan his job back immediately with full back pay, additional compensation for emotional distress, and a promotion to Employee Experience Coordinator, a new position focused on improving workplace respect and communication throughout the company. Ethan struggled to hold back tears. For years he had believed that honesty rarely received rewards. That afternoon proved otherwise. News of the incident spread quickly across the city. Thousands of people praised the company's decision to stand for fairness instead of protecting powerful executives. More importantly, employees began treating one another differently. Managers listened more carefully. Supervisors investigated before judging. Small acts of kindness slowly became part of the workplace culture. The greatest moment came later that evening. Ethan arrived home carrying flowers instead of worry. When Ava opened the door, she immediately noticed that her father's smile had returned. She hugged him tightly without asking questions, as though she somehow knew everything would be all right. That night, while helping Ava finish her homework, Ethan realized wealth wasn't measured by money alone. Real wealth was having integrity when nobody was watching, hope when life felt impossible, and people willing to stand for what was right even when it cost millions. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Lifeline Tales. Your support helps these inspiring stories reach more people who need hope.